Time to get back to the metamorphosis, amigos. See how Gregor's doing. Find out how that polished boot motherfucker is doing. If this is your first time here, I'm so psyched that you are ready to improve your English, start reading, and become a fluent speaker. But hey, this is not the beginning of the book. So start up here. Of course, we'll be waiting for you. Come on. Gotta give a shout out to the patrons who make this video and all my videos possible. Thank you so much. If you want to join the Patreon crew, click up here. For those patrons, the vocab review video will be available shortly after this video is published. And I hope you're not forgetting, but click down here, the 3 dots, to really benefit from these videos a lot more. So let's see what happens. Gregor is in a tight situation. Let's find out what he does next. Good morning, Mr. Samsa. He isn't well, said his mother to the chief clerk, while his father continued to speak through the door. He isn't well, believe me. Why else would Gregor have missed a train? The lad only ever thinks about the business. It nearly makes me cross the way he never goes out in the evenings. He's been in town for a week now, but stayed home every evening. He sits with us in the kitchen and just reads the paper or studies train timetables. His idea of relaxation is working with his fret saw. He's made a little frame, for instance. It only took him 2 or 3 evenings. You'll be amazed by how nice it is. It's hanging up in his room. You'll see it as soon as Gregor opens the door. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. We wouldn't have been able to get Gregor to open the door by ourselves. He's so stubborn. And I'm sure he isn't well. He said this morning that he is, but he isn't. I'll be there in a moment, said Gregor slowly and thoughtfully, but without moving so that he would not miss any word of the conversation. Well, I can't think of any other way of explaining it, Mrs. Samsa, said the chief clerk. I hope it's nothing serious, but on the other hand, I must say that if we people in commerce ever become slightly unwell, then, fortunately or unfortunately, as you like, we simply have to overcome it because of business considerations. This chief clerk sounds like a dick. Let's do a little review. So his mother is trying to defend Gregor, and she says, oh, the lad, he only thinks about his work. A lad is just a young man. We don't use this in the US. It's still common in the UK. To make someone cross means to make someone upset and angry. What's something that makes you cross? A timetable is just a schedule. So Gregor just studies the schedule of trains, when they arrive and when they leave. A fret saw is just a type of saw, a much smaller saw. Instead, I would just say a hand saw. And his mom says that he is stubborn. If you're stubborn, you don't change your mind easily. You get stuck on an idea, and you cannot be persuaded otherwise. If you're very stubborn, we could say that you are pig-headed. That's much more of an insult. And to do something thoughtfully means with a lot of attention and care. If you are very thoughtful, it means you are very polite and generous to other people. So Gregor, when speaking, is very thoughtful. He speaks very thoughtfully as to not make any mistakes and to not sound strange. And finally, commerce. This is the area that Gregor works in. Commerce is simply the buying and selling of goods. So let's get back to the story and see what the chief clerk does. Can the chief clerk come in to see you now then? Asked his father impatiently, knocking at the door again. No, said Gregor. In the room on his right there followed a painful silence. In the room on his left, his sister began to cry. So why did his sister not go and join the others? She had probably only just got up and had not even begun to get dressed. And why was she crying? Was it because he had not got up and had not let the chief clerk in? Because he was in danger of losing his job, and if that happened, his boss would once more pursue their parents with the same demands as before? There was no need to worry about things like that yet. Gregor was still there and had not the slightest intention of abandoning his family. For the time being, he just lay there on the carpet. And no one who knew the condition he was in would have expected him to let the chief clerk in. It was only a minor discourtesy, and a suitable excuse could easily be found for it later on. It was not something for which Gregor could be sacked on the spot. And it seemed to Gregor much more sensible to leave him now in peace instead of disturbing him with talking at him and crying. But the others didn't know what was happening. They were worried. That would excuse their behavior. Alright, let's take a look. To pursue someone is to follow someone, more like to chase. Relentless. So Gregor believes that his parents are worried that if he loses this job and leaves, then his boss will pursue them for their debts. He will chase them until he gets their money. And Gregor says, no, I won't abandon my family. To abandon someone means to leave permanently, never come back. Gregor thinks that what he's doing is only a minor, a small discourtesy. A discourtesy is something impolite. You can say discourteous. I think it's better to say uncourteous. And Gregor thinks, well, I can't be sacked on the spot. To be sacked means to be removed from your job, fired. On the spot means immediately. I don't know, Gregor, you could be sacked if you continue this uncourteous behavior. And Gregor thinks he's being sensible about these thoughts he has. To be sensible means to be rational and realistic. I'm not sure because things look like they're getting out of hand. It's getting crazy. Remember, the Patreon vocab review will be available shortly. If you want to continue practicing, the Fluency Book Club podcast is available. And in the description, you can get free books, free digital versions of books, and free audiobooks to read as well. That about does it for today. Take care and I'll talk to you later.